And we're already looking at the weekend already, but still midweek. Still have some time to spend. And you're welcome to this broadcast. But we've been looking at other strengths, and we actually focused on humility. We looked at the benefit of humility. We looked at that the meek will inherit the earth. It draws resources from you. We have seen the awesome strength that you can get. And we saw that even the Lord Himself is humble. He said, I'm meek and lowly in heart. So it's something that He does have. And when we have it, it's a major asset, that we do need to have. But there's something I must quickly say about humility as I round up on it. You will need to humble yourself. You will need to humble yourself. You know, there are certain traits as you walk in the Lord that you will need to fix yourself. You will need to. There's a requirement on you doing something to be able to function in humility. Let's look at Second Chronicles 32, verse 26. Sorry, about 20, yes, 32, verse 26. And it says, notwithstanding Hezekiah humbled himself for the pride of his heart, both he and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the wrath of the Lord came not upon them in the days of Hezekiah. So he humbled himself, he and the inhabitants. That means, many of us say, God humble me, God humble me, God humble me, God make me humble. No, you humble yourself. And like I said clearly earlier in another broadcast, it's a question of your view of yourself. When you have a wrong view of yourself, when you don't have an accurate view of yourself, you will not be humble. You will not be humble. That means you must see yourself the way God sees you from His perspective. Many times, because we have had one or two successes or several successes, we just assume that we're the ones doing it. By the time you begin to think like that, you will not be humble. You suddenly get bloated. You now begin to swing into negative aspect of humility, which is pride. You now begin to function in pride. Why? Because you have that feel that you are so good, you are so big. Other people didn't make it because they didn't work as hard as you did. And as you begin to think like that, you get blinded, get exposed. So you humble yourself. It's a decision that you have to take. You humble yourself. So Hezekiah did that for himself. He had to humble himself. When he realized that, look, by the time he saw the will of the Lord, he took a decision. He humbled himself. So we need a trait that we need to function with. And like I said, some people make humility to look such like weakness, but it is not. If it is weakness, then God is weak. But God is not weak. God is not weak. Now we have mentioned pride. Let's quickly look at something about pride. Pride is deadly. Pride is dangerous. And pride is something that we all are susceptible to. There's an aspect of pride that is not that bad anyway. I mean, we all have that bit of pride. We are proud about our children, about our achievements. There's a section of it that is just a little bit of it. But however, when you move to a particular dimension, as you begin to move forward and you begin to go into excess, then there's trouble somewhere. There is trouble somewhere. And that is where many of us fall into. Why? Because by the time you begin to go into that aspect of pride, it will blind you. It will blind you. Look at Obadiah 1 verse 3. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 3. The pride of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So his pride blinded him. His pride did not allow him to see anymore. His sight was no more accurate. It was not jaundiced. It was not exposed to error. And that's something about pride. Pride will make you overestimate yourself. It will not give you an accurate estimation of what things really are. And suddenly you just discover that, wow. And when you overestimate yourself, you don't prepare as much as you ought to prepare. You don't see your flaws, you don't see your weaknesses. Because every human being has weaknesses. However well you have performed, there were weaknesses. There were things you didn't do right, but you succeeded anyway in spite of your error. Now, when you move into pride, you don't see your error anymore, but your enemy sees your error. You don't see your mistakes anymore. And when you don't see your mistakes anymore, you are now open to a fall. So pride blinds, pride deceives. That's something about pride. It will blind you, you will not see again. And it proceeds destruction because, of course, you are blinded. You don't have an accurate sight and you begin to make mistakes. Destruction is going to take place next. You see that in Proverbs 16. Proverbs 16:18. It says, pride goeth before destruction. Pride goeth before destruction. Before there's a fall, there's pride. Before there's a defeat, there's pride. You see it in every single field of life. Even in major kingdoms, in empires, if you study it, you will see it. It goes before the destruction of that empire. They get to a place where they think they are the numero uno, and they begin to despise others. They begin to look down on others, like the Romans did, and the barbarians brought them down to size. Pride goes before destruction. So if you harbor that, it's time to let that thing die. It's time to drop it. Say, let God drop it. God's not going to help you drop it. You drop it yourself. So pride goes what? Before what? Destruction. You've got to watch this particular aspect so that it's a negative, and as a negative thing, don't function, don't walk in it so that it doesn't destroy you. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Well, see you